Welcome back. So today we're going to talk about Aaron Reutzel and his season in review with High Limit Racing. While I'm making these videos or while I'm doing these videos, remember that all of the numbers on the board are with High Limit Racing only. As far as the money, the wins, the laps led, the different stats, it's all with High Limit. No outlaw stuff, no power ride stuff. So keep that in mind as I go through this. Also, when we switch the board over, the community tab vote for this one was the most votes I've ever had. Somebody's getting arrested outside. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that or not. Yeah, there's I don't know what's going on over there. Anyway, the community tab had 617 votes, the most we've ever seen, and the vote was very lopsided. So people really liked Aaron Reutzel's season, as you'll see here in just a few moments. So let's get into the numbers here for Aaron Reutzel. His first time back on a national sprint car tour in about 4 years. It was a very good one. He had 40 starts this year. Remember when we go through this as well, that he missed about 10 races here. The whole West Coast, Aaron Reutzel was not involved with that. He missed Lernerville as well during that injury. And so some of the numbers are going to be a little bit down from the other guys because he only had 40 starts total. 6 victories for 15% of his starts were wins, 23 top fives, that's 57% of his starts were a top 5 finish, and 32 top 10s for 80% of his starts resulted in a top 10 run. He also had 182 laps led in feature action, and that is second most of anybody else with the tour. Rico Abreu, the only guy that had more laps led this year than Aaron Reutzel. You'll see little numbers right here. Those are the numbers when you include Justin Sanders' time in the 87. He also had 4 more top 5s and 6 more top 10s. And this team did go to victory lane 3 other times. A split field prelim night win at Eldora. Sanders had a split field prelim win at the Gold Cup, and Sanders also had that win at Placerville. So this team went to victory lane 9 times, but with Aaron Reutzel, 6 of those were a full field, and they were with him driving, nothing with Sanders. Now, the championship standings, he ended up second in the overall Owners' Championship, and in the midweek standings, he ran second in that as well. He missed that championship by just 1 point at Lucas Oil Speedway during the finale. Money earned overall with High Limit this year, $506,025, and that is split between the race purse of $371,025 and the championship standings as well, where he got $125,000 for second in points in the overall championship and $10,000 more for the midweek series standings. You combine all that together, it's $506,000 in earnings for Aaron Reutzel and Ridge & Sons Racing. Points behind the championship leader of Rico Abreu. He ended the season at 45 behind when the checkered flag flew at the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track, and he was just 4 points ahead of Brad Sweet in third. So it was very close. As we all know, there was 3 guys eligible to win the championship in the final weekend. Rico wins it by 45. Reutzel beats Sweet by 4 points in the final race. Aaron Reutzel, 2 provisionals used on the season. One of them that comes to mind was Fremont, where he did not have a good night. One of his worst races of the year was Fremont, and that was one where he needed a provisional. DNFs, he had one of those, and I wasn't really sure how to put this one in there, but I also wrote on there, and Vegas. So, he had one, and then if you include the Vegas race where he got hit in the face with a rock, Justin Sanders drives the car, it blows up on the first lap and pulls into the infield. I wasn't sure what to do with that one, so I just put it on the board. Technically, with Reutzel behind the wheel, he had 1 DNF that I could find throughout the season. His best finish, of course, he had 6 victories, but he also led laps in 10 different races this year. And so Reutzel was very close to having double-digit wins in 2025 with High Limit Racing. SprintCarRatings.com has him as the 9th best driver overall this year, as opposed to 18th in 2024. So moving up 9 positions on the SprintCarRatings.com ranking system for Aaron Reutzel. My prediction from the beginning of the season for Reutzel was either 4th and 5th in points and somewhere between 4 and 6 wins. So obviously he definitely proved me wrong on the points finish order there. I had him 4th to 5th. Obviously, he ran 2nd. I did get the wins right, though. He had 6 victories. I had him between 4 and 6. His best stretch of races came between races 11 through 23. He had 13 straight top 10 finishes, including 2 wins and 10 top 5 finishes there during that little stretch of the season. His worst stretch was races 24 to 38. 7 races in that time. due to him being injured, but he had 4 races outside of the top 10. Of course, that was when he was coming back from that injury. 2 of those races were at Lernerville. He did not run the top 10 either of those. So that was his worst stretch. Really, he did not have that many points in time this year where he was bad for multiple weeks at a time. That is just not something that we saw from Aaron Reutzel in 2025. Now, as for 2026, we know that he will be back with Highland Racing, with Ridge & Sons Racing. I mean, I don't think they've, officially announced that it was happening, right? But they've got the 5th best franchise, which is worth $260,000 heading into 2026. So I think that we could safely assume that Reutzel and Ridge & Sons Racing are going to come back next year and once again be a force for this championship. In my opinion, they are, I think, besides Rico, probably the favorite for the championship going into next year with the retirement of Brad Sweet. So let's switch the board over and take a look at some deeper stats for Aaron Reutzel and his 2025 season. All right, looking at some of the deeper numbers for Aaron Reutzel now in his 2025 season, the average finish for him was the best of anybody else with the series this year at 6.0. So I know he had, 10 less races, so it's a little bit skewed, but still, Reutzel with the best average finish during his time in the race car. Average start of 7.7 was second best overall with Highland Racing, and the average qualifying was the best by far, 4.6 average qualifying for Aaron Reutzel this year. The dash appearances, he had 23 out of a possible 34 dashes. That was the 4th best overall with the series. And he had 3 dash wins, which was tied for the 2nd most of anybody else. Hard chargers, only 1 of those because he started at the front so often. He was not really coming from behind all that much. That was tied for the 8th most hard chargers. And quick times, he had 12 quick times. That was the most of anybody else as well. B main event appearances, only 4 of those. That was the 2nd least of anybody else. The only driver with less was Brad Sweet throughout the year. Heat race wins for Aaron Reutzel, 8 of those. That was 7th best. So usually, 7th best, that's not that good, but he was qualifying so well. Normally, he was starting 4th in the heat races. He was never on the front row, and so that makes sense that he doesn't have that many heat race wins. Top 5 efficiency, he was extremely good in both of these categories. 19 out of 22 top 5 starts, he would finish there as well. That is 86% of the time he started top 5, he would stay there. That was the 2nd best of anybody else. And top 10, he had 30 top 10 starts, 31 top 10 starts and 30 top 10 finishes. 96% of his starts in the top 10, he would stay there. That was the most of anybody else with the series this year. Plus minus, he was a plus 68. That was P6 out of anybody else with the series this year. Races with a positive plus minus. Out of 40 starts, he went forward 23 times in the A main. That was 9th overall, so not the best there, but like I said, he was starting at the front a lot more often than not, and so more opportunities to go backwards, affecting that number. So he was in the bottom half of the series in that department. Average finish from the first half of the year was 6.2, and his average from the second half of the year was 6.0. So very, very consistent all the way through the year for Aaron Reutzel, considering everything that this team had to go through to get to the end of the year. Very, very impressive. Now, the community grade, 617 votes. I don't remember the other guys, but I don't think anybody else had over 500. So a lot of votes coming in here for Aaron Reutzel. And the A category, I mean, this is the most lopsided vote I've ever seen. 82% of the 617 votes gave Aaron Reutzel an A grade on his season. 16% gave him a B grade. You guys are some tough graders out there. And then, of course, you've got some people that just absolutely despise Aaron Reutzel. A C for 1% and D to F 1% as well. I'm starting to think that, like, YouTube, if nobody votes there, they just put 1% in there no matter what. I cannot imagine anybody being dead serious and putting D to F season for Aaron Reutzel. That is just ridiculous. But most people giving him an 82% grade for A on his 2025 season. And then on that community post, we've got some comments on there as well. I like to read the ones from the channel members first. This was early on in the vote. Brent Bear said 5% D to F is diabolical, even for the Aaron haters. Dude had a stellar year, and I am far from a fan. And so obviously that got changed up as the votes came in. It went from 5% down to 1%. And then also, who's another channel member? Ryan Showalter. I expected some sparks of good runs from him, but the moment the season started, he took off leaps and bounds ahead of the team's 2024 season. Even with unfortunate injuries, he still almost won the championship, and hard to argue against an A grade. Definitely agree with that one. From Ryan Showalter. Nate Trewin, considering the 2 injuries throughout the year, which could have easily derailed any speed throughout the season, the resilience from Aaron was very impressive, and I genuinely think he could have been a major contender for the title, barring those injuries. And then from Eric Forsyth, for his first year back on the road and all the injuries, he had stayed near the top. Can't wait to see what he can do with another year on tour. I believe he was also the only driver that won as a crew chief as well. Definitely a good point there from Eric. Yes, Reutzel won at Placerville with Justin Sanders behind the wheel when Reutzel was hurt. So very, very impressive. Also from Tyler C's 6665, considering the foot injury, you have to give it an A grade. I definitely agree with that one. So that's just a couple of the comments on there. I'm not going to read all 24 of them. That would make this video an hour long. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you did not leave them on that community post on the season that Aaron Reutzel put together. Also, go vote on the other post on there. I think it's for, who's it for? Brent Marks. I got Brent Marks up there. Go leave a comment, cast your vote as well, and we'll do his season in review here in the coming days. Thank you all so very much for watching here on the Rodman Rundown. We'll talk to you guys again here soon.